There's a big fight over whether taxi drivers should wait for 15 years to get a taxi medallion or whether they should be sold to other people. Do you know about it?
Just like a buying like equity, and you know, this
Like
good
equity.
for city, you know, get the tax also.
But
And
they're saying that they're going to cost like $100,000. So, you know, most cab drivers can't afford that, right?
they're, you know, it's just like buying the property, like you buying the
Like
house.
real estate, right?
Yeah, it's real estate. It's like a bank gonna finance, and every month instead of paying the rent, we pay for the mortgage.
So how long have you been driving a cab?
4 months.
4 months.
Yeah,
And where are you from?
I'm from Nepal, sir.
And how long have you been in San Francisco?
I've been here San Francisco 9 months.
All right, so it's hard to believe this, but it's been 13 years since the first column written by the mysterious Night Cabbie. Night Cabbie was a guy, he was a real person, even though people thought I made him up or I wrote him because I was the editor. But he wrote me a letter, and I approached him and I recruited him to write the Night Cabbie, which was a great kind of Damon Runyon-esque column that ran for a number of years in the Examiner and then the Chronicle. Well, the Night Cabbie's real. He's not only real, but he's right here with me. And his identity is going to remain a mystery for a while longer. However, he is driving a cab, and we are talking today to people who drive cabs about the medallion plan that the mayor has for the city and county of San Francisco's taxis. So I want to ask you, nice to see you again.
Good seeing you, Bill.
So, what do you think about this medallion plan? I mean, we talked to a cab driver on the way over here who said, you know, he liked it because it would give money to the city, and if you were a cab driver, you could buy it kind of like you buy a house. You know, it costs you $100,000, but you don't have to pay all that up front. You pay it as mortgage with your earnings every day and every week and every month. So he was kind of for the plan, which is a little surprising to hear from a cabbie.
Well, let me say this, Bill. There's no real plan. There's a whole assortment of plans. There's basically a major change coming March 1st when the Taxi Commission is absorbed by MTA.
Right.
The plan's to sell medallions to taxi drivers. Taxi drivers are broke. Where are they going to get the money? It seems like it's an act of desperation because MTA, who's going to absorb the Taxi Commission, is dead broke. They're running in the hole 60, 80, 90 million. It's not clear what the number is depending on who does the accounting. City of San Francisco is 550 million in the hole. State of California, we don't know if it's 25 billion to 40 billion. And the mayor, Gavin Newsom, is running around, running for governor.
Right. We are going to follow this, and we're going to come back at some point and talk to you when you are going to be willing to turn around and introduce yourself to the public, right? At some point.
You got a deal, Phil. So.
Okay. All right, man. It's good to see you.
Yeah, you too.
You know, the cable car barn and powerhouse used to be where Cala Foods is now.
Is that right?
Yeah. It was torn down in 1957 after it closed at the end of 1956.
Now, how long have you lived here?
I was born here.
Excellent.
I was born in the old Stanford Hospital in Sacramento and Webster Streets.
How long have you been driving a cab?
5 years.
One of the key arguments was the city needs the money, which I'm sure might not necessarily...
Well, you see, that seems to be the primary excuse from Mr. Newsom, or should I say Mr. News Slime, as I call him. Okay. I mean, the guy's a crook, a pathological liar, and a hypocrite.
How do you really feel?
His so-called solutions are always non-solutions. This is a simplistic non-solution to a much more complex problem. The problem with people getting cabs, there are basically two elements to the problem. One is an insufficient supply of cabs at certain times,
right,
and there are more cabs needed at that time.
Right.
Outside of those times, all it will do will be dilute business, which already is inadequate. It's almost impossible to make a living in this business. The figure that I heard is that there are over 200 cab drivers in San Francisco right now, who are over 80 years old and who are driving cabs because they cannot afford to retire. Okay, thank you.
Good luck to you.
Thank you. I'll need it.
You know, I put that first. So when I get up, I say my prayer and ask the Lord to bless the day, to bless my passengers, to bless my cab, and to bless me. So I get up with that mindset, you know.
Right now, you got to wait in line for years and years to get a medallion.
Uh-huh.
And now they're saying they're going to change all that, and they're just going to sell them to whoever wants to buy them. You think that's a good idea?
No, I don't think that's a good idea.
How come?
Because there are some cab drivers that will not be able to afford it.
Well, right.
I mean, medallion is a very, very something that everybody wants.
So how long have you been driving a cab?
I've been driving for almost 30 years. I don't have a medallion.
Did you you didn't put your name in?
No, I did not.
How come? Why not?
Because I didn't think that I needed it.
Okay. So, and do you think you were right that you shouldn't?
I think I was right.
So
yeah,
you don't think you could have made more money if you'd had a medallion, and then you could have rented it out, you know, to the second shift?
Yeah, possibly. I could have at least made some money. Yeah,
right.
That's a fair assessment.
Nobody has $100,000 to put on the table, but you could do it like it's a house. You could get a loan, and you pay it off. You know, like you pay off a house. Do you think that makes sense?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Look. Okay, let's say a cab driver is 70 years old, right?
Yeah.
And he's interested in buying one, right?
Yeah.
I mean, do you think that he will live, you know, another 20 years to enjoy that medallion?
Well, that's a good point. That's a good point.
But okay, let's say that you have a young cab driver.
Yeah.
He's 30.
Yeah.
Chances are that he might be able to work for the next 20 years, right?
Right.
Okay. But even if you put money on it, he won't be able to afford it.
Okay, so the fact is no one can afford it. So
No.
only rich people will be able to afford the medallion.
Oh yes.
All right, so
put it on a lottery system.
So what you would like to see is, because there isn't really a lottery system now, right?
You gotta figure it out.
Okay, so you would like to see a whole new system, which is a lottery system.
Yes.
And what if you've been on that list for like 14 years and suddenly you come along and you say, hey, let's have a lottery system, and they're going, wait a minute, I'm like a year from getting my medallion. You really want to change the rules like that?
Well, it depends, you know. I mean, if the rule is the rule.
Right.
You know, if somebody has been on the list for years, right?
Yeah.
And is about a year away, right?
Yeah.
You can't change the rules in the middle. Is it okay here?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, sir. Thank you. I appreciate it.